After receiving the quest, Sungwoo headed to the Grade D store to try and get a good skill. To their surprise, it wasn't a game of roulette this time. Sungwoo decided to go first and used one of his tickets. Even though the odds weren't in Sungwoo's favor, he managed to win the legendary grade skill, Vacant Sanctuary, which allowed him to keep his summons in a subspace and could summon them whenever he wanted. Sungwoo stated that he just got lucky. But after seeing how successful he was, Jisoo and Hanho decided to try their luck as well. Sungwoo then tried out the new skill that he got, and thought that it was a rather convenient skill since he now had a giant inventory. After Jisoo and Hanho had terrible luck with the store, they decided to leave. Someone that Sungwoo had saved before was now surrounded by a pool of bodies as he kneeled down before the disaster that was before him. He thought that he was too complacent, and that he should have followed Sungwoo before. He had thought that the military base was a safe place. After evading the monsters and making it all the way there, to their surprise, it was already destroyed and void of life, a complete disaster. Everyone then started panicking and looking towards him for a solution since he was the one who brought them there. In all of the chaos that was happening, someone in the crowd told everyone that there was a safe zone and showed them his phone. After being provided with a way out, Kyungsoo decided to believe in himself once more and headed towards the safe zone with everyone, but what awaited them was anything but a safe zone. After arriving, what greeted them were monsters disguised as humans to lure them and use them as their slaves. As Kyungsoo was being ordered around, the monsters started talking about replacing the slaves with new ones and killing the useless ones, which made Kyungsoo nervous since he didn't want to end up dead like his friends. As they were going about their task, a skeleton soldier suddenly appeared before them. Even after seeing the skeleton soldier, the monsters didn't care at all and decided to just go ahead and kill it. But before they could even come close, they were all hit by spears that were thrown by Sungwoo's summons. Kyungsoo became happy after realizing that it was Sungwoo who had come to their rescue. After seeing Sungwoo, Kyungsoo thought that he had gotten a lot more powerful than the last time he saw him and wondered why there was such a huge difference between them. The skeleton soldiers then started attacking the monsters and killing them one after the other. Sungwoo told his summons to leave one of them alive for interrogation and just kill the others. After seeing how Sungwoo's teammates fought against the monsters, he thought that it wasn't just Sungwoo who had gotten a lot stronger, but even his teammates as well. After the fight had ended, Sungwoo asked one of the monsters about how many vampires and players were in the factory. After Sungwoo had received the information he wanted, he planned on killing the monster, but Kyungsoo had killed it first. He told Sungwoo that they shouldn't let any of the monsters live since they were the ones who killed all of his friends. Inside the factory, one of the workers asked the area manager how long they planned to keep capturing humans, and the manager told him that humans were nothing but a source of food and were easier to capture than monsters. The manager then told them that as long as they kept on doing their work, the boss would promote them to regular members, but he was interrupted by Sungwoo's entrance. The manager came down and asked Sungwoo who he was. The prisoners saw Sungwoo and became happy that someone had come to rescue them, which made the manager angry. Sungwoo then asked the manager if the boss hadn't told him who he was. He then realized that Sungwoo was the one who had killed the previous manager and asked him what made him think that he could make it out of the factory alive after they found out, to which Sungwoo just said his skills were the reason. Sungwoo then activated his skill and smoke started enveloping the area where the vampires were. Sungwoo had activated the Great Spirit and all of the vampires received a debuff. Sungwoo's summons then started their attack and soon all of them started running away. They tried to kill Sungwoo to stop the summons, but they had no opportunity to get close to him at all since they couldn't even fend off the skeletons that were massacring them. Sungwoo's teammates also joined in on the fight, and Jisoo had managed to secure the hostages. As the humans were escaping, the vampires tried to stop them, but the skeletons didn't give them a chance at all. The vampires were being killed without any mercy, as they were too weak to even protect themselves. Sungwoo then told the manager that setting up his base of operations in a factory was a bad idea since it was easy to raid. While on the ground, the manager kept wondering who Sungwoo was since he was so smart. Right before things could end, one of the workers helped the manager by giving him his power, which resulted in the manager becoming a high-level vampire. The manager then charged at Sungwoo, but the skeleton soldiers rushed to his defense. The manager had gotten a lot stronger, but he was still outnumbered by the skeleton soldiers, and soon enough, Jisoo also joined in on the fight, making it even more difficult for the manager. The fight kept on going between the manager and Sungwoo's summons, which started worrying Sungwoo since he could end up running out of monster corpses, but the manager's sudden outburst of power was also on time and wouldn't last long either. Sungwoo also took notice of the fact that the manager was just the vampire lord's subordinate, and if he was causing him this much trouble, then he wondered how powerful the vampire lord was. Due to his summon's excellent teamwork, Sungwoo had managed to activate the synergy effect and was able to summon a werewolf skeleton. The manager then realized that the skeletons had suddenly become stronger, and soon he was overwhelmed by them. After killing the manager, Sungwoo wondered if he could turn him into one of his summons, to which he was successful. A message then popped up stating that Sungwoo could now view memory fragments. With the new skill that he had gained, he was able to look into the memories of the manager. It was a memory where the manager and the vampire lord were talking. The lord then asked his subordinates what they thought the purpose of the game was, but nobody knew, including him. He then told them that he did know one thing, and that was that they needed to evolve to become stronger and rise above the human race as superior beings. The vampire lord then asked his subordinates to help him out with a quest that he had received, which they happily agreed to. After Sungwoo had found out the vampire lord's plan, he received an exclusive quest, which was for him to prevent or take advantage of a massacre. Hanho was wondering if something had happened to Sungwoo after killing the manager since he wasn't moving at all. After Hanho started accusing him of messing things up, Sungwoo grabbed his head and asked who he was blaming for messing things up. Sungwoo then asked him to help him out with a quest since he had said he would do anything Sungwoo had asked previously. The vampire lord had just received news that the manager had died even after lending him strength. He was then asked if someone like Sungwoo would pose a threat to him. The lord then turned towards Madame Yang and asked her if she really thought that Sungwoo could stop him. She quickly apologized and stated that she was out of line. The lord stated that she did have a point, but as long as he was able to check Sungwoo's location with his curse, he would be next after the feast, and he looked forward to meeting him. Outside of the factory, Sungwoo and the other humans who had escaped were organizing things. Hanho then asked Sungwoo if they should be doing something like that when a massacre will be happening soon. Both Hanho and Jisoo thought that they should be preparing to stop the massacre from happening instead of wasting time organizing things. Hanho then told Sungwoo that something was bugging the online forum and that the vampires were luring a lot of humans. Hanho thought about posting a comment online to notify people of the danger, but Sungwoo told him to stop and think about it for a moment. Sungwoo thought that no one would believe a comment posted by them when they are trying to cling to life so desperately, and if he made a comment, he would also lose the advantage that he had over the vampires, which was knowing their plans. Sungwoo then asked Jisoo if she had found anything, and she showed him all the potions that she had found. Jisoo then showed Sungwoo one of the potions that had the ability to heal all kinds of sickness and that it would definitely come in handy. The humans that Sungwoo had rescued started thanking him for saving them and healing one of the members of the group. Sungwoo then told them that he didn't do it for free and that he needed their help with something later. Sungwoo then asked one of the players to proceed, and he then used his skill to create a camp that acted as a safe zone for the players to stay in. Jisoo then pointed out that they had started adapting to the situation and that all they had to do was prepare to stop the massacre that was going to happen soon. Sungwoo then told her that she wasn't obligated to stop the massacre, so why was she so into the idea? She told him that she didn't want to run away since she would be killed sooner or later, whether by vampires or something else. After Jisoo had said that, a message then popped up, which showed the start of the main story. A window with a warning also appeared with the rules of the event that will be taking place. After looking at the message, Sungwoo thought that the fight was starting for real this time, and Jisoo then told him that instead of running away, they should fight. While Sungwoo and Hanho were riding together, Hanho stated that it was unfair that he had to go on a dangerous mission, but Jisoo didn't. Sungwoo told him that Jisoo was able to handle herself well, unlike him. Naho then told him that people were responding to the comment that he made on the post. Sungwoo then looked at what people were saying based on his comment, and realized that one of the commentors was getting a lot of attention. Hanho then asked Sungwoo where they were going, to which Sungwoo replied that they were going to level up and asked Hanho what level he was at. After Habho told him that he was a level 5 player, Sungwoo thought that he wouldn't be able to last a day by himself. Sungwoo and his teammates then arrived at their new hunting ground, which was infested by monsters. Sungwoo and his teammates then went ahead and started hunting the monsters, but it was difficult since there were a lot of them attacking at once. After Sungwoo had summoned his creatures, it became a lot easier for them to kill the monsters, and everything started going smoothly. They had managed to kill all of the kobolds that were casting magic at them. Jisoo then showed Sungwoo a convenience store that resembled the entrance of their old school. Since it was a place that was packed with people, Sungwoo thought that one of the tutorials might have taken place there. Sungwoo thought that places like Jeju Island would have been relatively unharmed by monsters since there weren't many people there. He also remembered that Jisoo's family lived on Jeju Island, but Jisoo told him not to worry about it. Everyone then entered the convenience store, which was the kobold sorcerer's fortress. As soon as they entered, a magic circle appeared on the ground below them, and they were all teleported. Hanho was the first one that the monsters had discovered, and to his surprise, they were able to talk. Hanho thought that the situation was okay until he realized that he was all alone. All of the monsters then rushed at him, and Hanho had no way of defending himself or fighting off the monsters that were after him. After all of the attacks that the monsters did to Hanho, he realized that it didn't hurt at all. He also remembered that he had gained a skill that grants him a shield for 10 seconds after killing a monster. Hanho then realized that he could easily take on the monsters that were there. Jisoo was rushing through the fortress looking for Hanho, but when they found him, Hanho was doing perfectly okay, killing the kobolds. Jisoo looked around and couldn't believe that Hanho was the one who killed all of the monsters. Hanho then told them that he had finally unlocked his hidden potential. Sungwoo ended up being teleported by himself, but they weren't worried about him at all.